Things are starting to get real. Also, I think I chose the right shirt to wear for tonight's episode. So without any further ado, these are my assorted thoughts on the January 20th, 2025 WWE RAW. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. From Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, WWE Premium Live Event, prediction and review videos, wrestling opinion pieces, and of course assorted thoughts on SmackDown and Raw. Now I'm recording this Tuesday, the 21st of January, 2025. It's about 7 p.m. Shortly after this, I'll do my prediction video for Saturday night's main event. In fact, there was a lot of setup for Saturday night's main event and for the Royal Rumble in this show. So let's get started. Cool that Sami Zayn's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I liked his fiery promo. I didn't think it was going to be Kevin Owens who interrupted him, at least not this soon. I thought that they were just going to sort of stay at odds because they kept mixing each other on various Raws and SmackDowns by even on the Raw premiere on Netflix for run-ins. Sami was out before KO did his run-in. So, but yeah, no, they cracked that egg and they're setting some things in motion. Namely, the much sought after Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, potentially for a championship at WrestleMania, maybe in the main event. And I'm definitely all here for that. I'm not here for what Kevin Owens wants, which is Sami sort of helping him out to beat Cody, because and also that would make their main event match at WrestleMania, if they got it, not mean as much or not be as valuable a potential commodity. Because if Sami turns heel on Cody and helps Kevin Owens, that match isn't going to work because you need Sami as a major babyface fighting a heel Kevin Owens. You need the emotion, the passion. And if they help each other out, that's not going to be the case. So I also like the fact that Kevin Owens is showing he's a bit smarter than he lets on. Like, he got all emotional with Rey Mysterio when Rey Mysterio told him, well, you're not really the champion. But with Sami, he knows he's not the champion. He knows he has to beat Cody Rhodes to be the champion at WrestleMania, and he's trying to get Sami to help him. But I think once Sami's no longer useful to him, he's going to discard him, and maybe that will be where the tension comes from. I was very interested in this segment. I didn't think it was going to come this soon, but of course, Sami wasn't done for the night. There was a backstage bit with Seth Rollins, and then we got Seth and Drew's match, the main event, WrestleMania 40 rematch. Really good match, back and forth, but of course, Drew got sloppy. As Drew's his own worst enemy. Seth took advantage, got the pin, and then when Drew started beating Seth up, Sami came in for the save. That worked for a bit, but then eventually Drew was talking to Seth, sort of browbeating him, saying we should be on the same page, and Sami screws up. Drew moves, he hula kicks Seth. So I don't know if Sami and Seth are going to be on the same page. Maybe I think Seth might actually align with Drew and Kevin Owens, and I think Sami's definitely going to stay a babyface. So back to my earlier comment, I don't think Sami's going to align with KO, but I think Drew and Seth might, and they're definitely setting a lot of irons in the fire. Things are getting real on this very show. Of course, what everyone's talking about, at least online, is that CM Punk promo. Now, before I get into the part of it that everyone's talking about, this is an ideal type of promo for CM Punk. It's very old school, like in the Gene Okerlund days, or the crowd behind him. It allows him to actually be interviewed and do his promo bits, but rather than have him go to the ring and start talking and someone interrupts him. I think for this talent in particular, it's a really good type of promo. And for those of you who are on the basic Netflix tier in the States and have been watching commercial breaks on Raw, what you've been missing, what we in Canada and elsewhere in the world, or those on the top tier of Netflix have been seeing, is during the commercial breaks, you either get the continuation of the match or you get an interview segment. They've done a bunch of these interview segments with Jackie Redmond. I think this is the first one they've done from this location on air. So it was a good introduction to it, and it went perfectly. Now, also, before I get into the main bit, CM Punk understandably said, Roman Reigns, he had to help him with family issues. He mentioned he had a favor, that Paul Heyman owed him a favor. He talked about how he already destroyed Drew McIntyre. And then he said, don't talk to me about Sami Zayn. he's not on my level. Well, okay. I know that's not what the main thing people picked out of this interview. Punk, I'm a fan of yours, but I'm sorry. Sami Zayn fan even more. And not on your level? Sami Zayn's main evented WrestleMania, which is something you have made clear you have never done. Maybe you're not on his level. I don't know. I mean, you have been a world champion and he hasn't. Anyways, of course, what everyone's talking about online, at least, is the fact that CM Punk basically called out Hulk Hogan in the midst of talking about all potential Royal Rumble opponents, people who have declared. He said, yeah, put Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble, something about beating his old ass, throwing him over the rope, and destroying Hulkamania, or using the K word, Hulkamania. Wow, okay. So I think that this was planned as a litmus test. Hulk Hogan, as we all know, got massively booed in California, and he's also scheduled to be on Saturday night's main event. So the thinking backstage might be, okay, fine, he got booed. Maybe it's because of the Trump thing and not just the overall Hulk Hogan thing, and maybe it's because they were in California. Saturday night's main event is in San Antonio. So you know what? To test that theory, maybe they figured we have another crowd in Dallas, another Texas crowd. Hey, Punk, you want to go out and slam Hulk Hogan and see what kind of response you get? Litmus test to see if he should actually be pulled from Saturday night's main event, or if maybe Hogan is more over in Texas than he was in California. Maybe it's just because it was CM Punk and they like him, but this Dallas crowd seemed very into the idea of CM Punk burying Hulk Hogan. So maybe don't use him on Saturday night's main event, or use him as a heel. Nia Jax versus Bayley was a good match. Nia did get the win. I mean, Bayley took a couple of losses in a row, but she's now on Raw. And it looks like she might have some sort of interaction in the future, or more interactions with Roxanne Perez, who is probably going to be called up to the main roster, maybe show up in the Royal Rumble. Who knows? Looking forward to that. Looking forward to Bayley on Raw. Is Nia going to be on Raw? Because, I mean, well, the kind of purpose of this match, or the ultimate result of this match, was Rhea Ripley coming out. They had to pull apart, and eventually Rhea, without Adam Pearce having to do it, said, you, me, Saturday night's main event. So Nia Jax is challenging for the Women's World Championship, the Raw title, fighting Rhea and fighting Bayley on Raw. It hasn't been announced she's going to Raw yet, but maybe she is. Or maybe she's just sort of doing this because they needed a potentially good match at Saturday night's main event. Originally, I wasn't that excited about the prospect of another Nia Rhea match because they did that whole feud last year. But you know what? Nia's improved since then. She's been a champion for a while. We got to know her character a bit more. She's not just the big imposing one who never wins anything. I'm pretty sure Rhea's going to win on Saturday night's main event, but Nia now has a chance to actually might be a much better match than they had at the Elimination Chamber last year in Australia. So you know what? Bayley's on Raw. I'm okay if they bring Nia to Raw as well, too. There were some good matches on the show. I enjoyed Rey Mysterio versus Kofi Kingston. I don't know why it wasn't a tag match. Maybe they're saving the New Day's first tag match for Alpha Academy and then go on from there. Maybe get the tag team championships off the War Raiders. Who knows? But yeah, good match. New Day got some good heat, especially after. I'm glad that Rey won because he lost on SmackDown. And then, of course, there was the attack, and then members of the LWO came in. I don't know. Singles match was good. It still had the whole New Day presence there. Little sidebar, because this is where we had JBL. He had some fun interplay with the New Day backstage with the whole $2 thing. That was hilarious. But the fact that they had Wade Barrett filling in for Pat McAfee, who was away at the college football finals, and the fact that they also had JBL coming to do like a guest announcer spot, it just leads me to believe that Corey Graves, maybe if it's not a work, he really is getting the short end of the stick. Like, I don't know why they didn't put him in a 3-man booth on SmackDown. It is a 3-hour show, but on Raw, they could have subbed him in this time if maybe he hadn't sort of gone off the rails. They could have told him, we're going to sub you in. I think it's a work because they would have made a 3-man. Why try to put him in a 3-man booth on NXT? Put him on SmackDown. It's a 3-hour show. Or maybe make it a 3-hour booth on Raw. Cole, McAfee, and Graves. That's the trio that did WrestleMania. They do some PLEs. So I think it might be a work. But on shows like this, it's really apparent that they shouldn't have gotten rid of Corey Graves, or unless it's a work, he shouldn't have maybe left. Anyways, my 2 cents on that. Talking of other good matches, we had Penta beating Pete Dunne. I kind of hope that Tyler Bate comes back so Pete Dunne can stop this whole I'm not Butch gimmick, although the audience seems to like it. During the commercial break, they were just shouting at him, calling him Butch. He was saying, I'm not Butch. Now, of all the wrestlers, of all the things I see, like, chairs, people getting busted open, all this stuff, the most disturbing thing is Pete Dunne's joint manipulation. Just sort of irks me. But, Penta got through it. It was a good match. He did his Mexican Destroyer, and he did his finisher at the end. The Penta Bomb did him a bit separate this time. Different match than last time. I think they're just putting Penta with good workers like Chad Gable, Pete Dunne. I think they should keep this up for a few more weeks, keep having him rack up the victories, and eventually give him an opponent who could potentially beat him. They're presenting him very strong as his merch is selling very well. This is a way to bring in, like I said last week, a new talent. They're keeping it up. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, do well in that. I don't think he's going to win it, but I'd be astonished if he wasn't in at least maybe a tag match, if not a singles match at WrestleMania. They got high hopes for Penta, and I think that's a good thing. Damage Control versus PFC was a good match, even though PFC is still a terrible name. Pure Fusion Collective, or I live in Quebec. PFK is Poulet Free Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, it's a terrible name. They're really not over, but you know what? Both Zoe Stark and Io Sky showed their talent. Their aerial talents as well, too. Io does it all the time, but Zoe Stark came out of nowhere with this aerial kick. Really impressive, really good. And Damage Control got the victory. The whole show kicked off with Jey Uso being interrupted by Gunther. I'm still convinced Gunther's going to win this match. I think everyone's sure he's going to win at Saturday night's main event. But you know what? Jey Uso's doing good promos, proving his worth in this situation. I like how he said, yeah, I'm a mascot for the crowd. That was good. And they mentioned the fact that he comes out, he helps Roman, he helps Sami Zayn, which sort of was like a theme of the night, people helping people, or who's going to help who. So it sort of set the tone right for the night. And I think they're going to have a definitely an enjoyable match. And I think if Jey can successfully get the crowd behind him, even if he doesn't win, it's a good thing. He's going to get a world title at some point, just maybe not this season and probably not beating Gunther. Still, it was a good start to the show. I'm not sure what luchador or luchador expert Dom Mysterio is going to introduce Chad Gable to, but I'm curious. And while I'm still convinced Braun Breaker is going to retain, I think Sheamus now might have a chance. He really wants the IC title. And these were my assorted thoughts on the January 20th, 2025 WWE RAW from Dallas, Texas. Do you agree with my takes? Anything I left out? Anything you think should be added? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. I'll be back with my prediction video for Saturday night's main event and, of course, assorted thoughts on SmackDown. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.